If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
There are 5 fatalities that we know of. There are several other persons that are gravely injured.
Awful, to say the least. Awful, awful, awful. 5 people are dead. 7 people are wounded, seriously injured, most of them because a shooter, apparently armed with a shotgun, wandered into the Capitol Gazette in Annapolis today and started shooting. The motive is not yet known. But it is terrifying to think, once again, we've had an incident. What happened? How did we get to this position? What we know about him is he's a white male with a ponytail. That's it. That's all we know about this. And it is another horrible incident in America where we have somebody who decided that they're having a bad day, that they're angry at somebody or something, and that somebody else needs to pay for their poorest attitude.
I heard some gunshots, and then I heard a bunch of screaming and commotion. So I looked, and I saw a woman laying on the floor, broken glass everywhere, and blood. She did not respond, and she didn't move, but she was breathing. I went up to her, and I asked, "Ma'am, are you okay?" No response, nothing. And then right as soon as I said that, I heard another gunshot, and at that time I knew what was happening, so I ran out of the building.
Again, another person inside there. And nobody knows why. Like, the first thing that everybody does is we all run and try to find out who's responsible for this. And not talking about who the shooter is. Is it his politics? It is his religion? Was it his love life? Who's responsible for this? So we could start to lay blame and we could start to craft a narrative. That's the first thing and the first reaction everybody wants to know. And I will say this, for the first time in ever and a day, I thought to myself, somebody's pissed at the media. I didn't think, angry ex, love, gone awry. I didn't think terrorism. I thought somebody's pissed at the media. And that's scary to think that. That is. This rhetoric, we could talk about that another time when and if it becomes applicable to this situation, which we don't know anything. We know he's not cooperating whatsoever. That's what we do know. And it's a horrible situation that you've got 5 people dead. 5 people who went to work. 7 people fighting for their lives. 12 families' lives who have changed forever. Because they chose to go to work on a Thursday and just do their job. And for whatever reason, this person, again, decides he'd had enough. He's pissed. He's angry for whatever reason. And he decides to do this. It is ridiculous that we're talking about something like this. Now, the media will, if it's no more than an ex-love situation, the media, it'll die down because it's a shotgun, apparently, right? So that's the angle they'll take. It's nothing big. It's a shotgun. We can't go after that. If it was terrorism, it would be a little bit more. But if it's the media being attacked and targeted, it's yet something else to run with. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. But I will tell you, from my perspective, the first thing that came to my mind, and the mind of, I'm working in a news staff. We have bulletproof glass that separates us from everybody else because we have death threats. And 2 of which in the last few months have been taken serious enough that the police have got involved. So, yeah, you think about it. We've got our big sports guy that works inside the station. Tough guy. Cool guy, New Yorker. Comes on in and says, hey, what's our plan? I mean, as if something was to happen. Do we have a plan? Is there a plan in place? And there is a plan in place. But you think about it. But this is the first time where I stood back and I said, I don't think it's terrorism. And it just doesn't feel like a disgruntled lover. It could be all of those things, you know? But I don't know what it is. But that was the first time, and I thought, don't go there. You know, you don't know what's happened. But it's a horrible situation. Once again, people going to work, doing nothing but minding their own damn business. And for whatever reason, whether it's the Parkland shooter, right, or the shooter in Texas, right, or this shooter or somewhere, for whatever reason, somebody's had a horrible day, and their thought process is, boom, let's kill a bunch of people. Let's kill a bunch of people. And you know the other thing I thought of, and this sounded horrible, but I'll throw it out there, is I'm going to get 65 text messages and tweets. It was a white guy. You guys took him into custody. If it's a black guy, you would have shot him. And I'm like, can we approach this from this position right here? Because we have to do that now. We have to be right. Everybody's got to say a little piece about something. And that's what social media gives us. But I don't know what this was about today. But I will say, first thing that came to my mind was somebody's pissed at the media.
What we have been told is now by several people is that this shooting took place in the offices of the Annapolis Capital Gazette newspaper. I've seen several staffers who I've known over the years arriving here, running up, embracing each other, trying to deal with this.
Yeah. And, was it inside the newsroom? Because, I mean, you've got counting and you've got, accounts payable and you have the sales staff and you have the news staff. Everybody is, we all want to try to be ahead of the game, and we can't do that. It's disingenuous. You need to figure out exactly what it is that led to something like this, because now the curiosity factor's in there. Like any time else we have a shooting, like anytime we've had a shooting, we look around and we think, why? Why did the guy in Vegas do what he did? Why did the guy in Orlando do what he did? Why did the kids do what they did in Texas and in Florida? Why did this guy do this? All of them will be different narratives. We still have no idea what the deal was in Vegas. Right? Mateen, we're kind of getting an idea. The guy from Orlando, an idea. I think we've got a solid idea. On the other side of things, you look around and you say the kids that did these killings, these horrible killings in Florida and in Texas, the bullying, angry at the world, pissed off, it's kind of the thing that we've seen in the past. This today, it could be 1,000 different things. But I will say, for the first time ever, I thought to myself, this isn't one of those other things. This potentially this has a chance. And the first thing my mind went to was, it's gotten so out of hand that somebody has lost their plot because they don't understand. But it could be any of the other things. But if you weren't thinking it, you're full of it. You know you were. It's a sad, sad situation. again today where somebody decided, I'm having a bad day, my life sucks, or whatever it is, and because of that, I'm going to take it out on other people. And it could be all kinds of reasons. Maybe the person's mentally disturbed. Maybe the person did hate the media, and this was it. He felt that the media is all fake news, and it's all deep state, and he's going to get back at them. Maybe it was a bad breakup. Maybe he heard voices. We don't know. But I will say for the first time, my mind went somewhere that it wouldn't have normally gone. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. Hope you're doing well. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to have some tech talk later on. I'm also going to talk about the fact that we have no civility in this country and how two people on the polar opposites of the political spectrum had a great relationship in the highest courts of the land, and many people didn't understand that. When we sit here and we try to figure things out, we try to talk to one another, and we struggle doing it, how two people who are on the polar opposite sides of the political spectrum, the highest courts of the land, were best friends and respected colleagues to each other in a way that we need to take we need to take a page out of their playbook. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's been an amazing year. I've been smart, invested wisely, doing some smart things. One of the things, though, my uncle and I did a few years ago is we got interested in Bitcoin and in Ethereum and in Ripple and several other of these cryptocurrencies that were out there. And it's been a very interesting time. I'm telling everybody, if you've never thought about it, it's time to think about diversifying your portfolio and take a small run at it if you have to. But first, educate yourself. Tiki Tuari from the Palm Beach Letter has put together one of the most incredible courses you're ever going to find on an education side of investing, and it's for cryptocurrencies. You can check it out at amazingcryptoclass.com. He's a former Wall Street hedge fund guy. He is made more money, arguably, than anybody else for other people in cryptocurrencies. And he's ready to teach you the ins and outs, the ups and downs of how cryptos work, where you buy them, how you can spend them, all of those things, which one he recommends. It's time for you to take a look into something like this because you want to educate yourself. Check it out for yourself at amazingcryptoclass.com. That's amazingcryptoclass.com. You won't be disappointed. Amazingcryptoclass.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. You can also text the program 323-538-2423. We got more on this, the shooting today in Annapolis. We're going to talk about that as well as what's going on as the fight for the Supreme Court heats up big time as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Take one giant step to the left.
Did you ever have anyone embarrass you like this?
One giant step to the right.
That's all that separates you from everything else that came from slime.
You are now in the alt-middle, where it's just right.
Call if you get weird.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
It's interesting how he appeared to have entered the paper by shooting out the door. Now, was that a functional reason because it maybe had some sort of maglock on it or swipe card, you couldn't get in, or did he just want to be that spectacular, or he's now drawing everyone toward him?
I don't know. I'm sure they're asking that question right now. Why? How? What'd you do? Where'd you go when you entered the building? Who did you choose to shoot? And from what we're hearing is he's not investigating at all. If you're just joining the program, you had a shooter at a newspaper in Annapolis, killed 5, 7 are injured. It is a horrible situation at the Capitol Gazette because, the first thing, and I've gotten several people that have texted me and tweeted at me and said, Chad, to be honest with you, the first thing that came to my mind was the same thing, that somebody had taken this rhetoric too far. And earlier I said, I don't want to be that person that says, let's speculate about what it is. There's too many of those, those people that shoot those arrows and throw those flames. It's not about that. These people are wounded. They're getting the best care. But who knows why this took place?
There has to be something in reference to the newspaper. I would look at what they have recently published, in particular today. Is there something in an article or an editorial that would lead them potentially to someone? Did the shooter actually say something before he committed to shooting?
Yeah, and that's something else. That's former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett right there. We think, well, maybe somebody's pissed at the media, but it could be pissed at the media for the different things. Maybe they've been fighting with the media over something that was published about their family or themselves, or who knows what it could be. But what we do know is, once again, somebody's decided to turn their bad day or their bad life into everybody else's problems. They're pissed at the world, so now it's your problem. Their life sucks, so now they're going to make it everybody else's problem. And we don't know what it is. Could have been a horrible situation with an ex-love or a flame. I mean, out here in Phoenix, we just had that guy that 9 years after his divorce, he goes and kills, 6 or 7 people. Targets people that are with the law firm they were at, the psychologist, because the breakup was so bad with the kids and the whole 9 yards. But it was 9 years after, and it was stewing up. We don't know what it could have been. We don't know what it could have been. What we do know, though, is that 5 people dead, 7 people gravely injured, and they're fighting for their lives. And the families of those people, their lives have changed forever. And all they did was go to work today. That was it. They went to work today. Do anything else. They got up, took a shower, got dressed, fed the kids, fed the dog, kissed the husband or wife goodbye, whatever it was, wandered off to work, did their thing. And this happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And look, the rhetoric that's out there, and I've talked about it before, I don't buy into it. It's WWE. And just remember that. When you hear the craziness from both sides of the aisle that overdoes it, right? That just goes into this insanity. It's theatrics. It is Shakespearean. It is crazy. Just take it for what it is. It's that. It's somebody's playing a part. And that's all it is. Doesn't mean they don't feel strongly about a certain thing, but just remember, if they feel strongly at it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least they feel for it and 10 being the top, the reality is, by and large, most people feel about a 5, a 6, or a 7 about a certain thing. But when the TV camera's on, they ratchet it up. And that just stirs up the base and the crazies, and it's not right. It isn't, because those people can't tell when somebody's putting a little extra mustard on the hot dog. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of mustard on the hot dog, both sides were at it last night and yesterday afternoon, and even throughout the day today, about the whole SCOTUS. And Trump gets a pick. Both sides are at it. Crazy kids. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Democrats want judges who will rewrite the Constitution any way they want to do it and take away your Second Amendment, erase your borders, throw open the jailhouse doors, and destroy your freedoms.
Last 24 hours since the announcement that Kennedy is going to be stepping down, Trump getting his second. I told you how important it is to hear everybody and the insanity, including the Trumpster there, of saying things that are so absurd. You go from there to the left side of the aisle.
I think this is going to be the fight of the century. I think the Democrats have to say, no way, non passario, no one passes this line. I think it's going to be almost like Spanish Civil War stuff. You watch the next few months.
Spanish Civil War, huh? Is it going to be that bad?
Famously, Roe versus Wade began with a Texas law against abortion. It ended in 1973 with abortion rights guaranteed by law in all 50 states. The Supreme Court has agreed since 1973, but the Supreme Court is about to change. In terms of the legal, constitutional, protected right to access abortion services in this country, this may be the pull the fire alarm moment that you have been expecting.
Pull the fire alarm. Spanish Civil War. Oh, my God. What else is going to happen?
We've got 50 years of hard work that's on the line. Women's access to safe legal abortions on the line. Marriage equality on the line. Voting rights on the line. Worker rights on the line.
I got emails yesterday. Emails. The minute this went out, I got emails raising money off this. That's what it's about. Just how loud can I be? How insane can I be? How can I stir up the people that will act? By the way, abortion, even Republicans have come out and say, yeah, it's been spoken for. Marriage equality has been spoken for. There you go. Now, states can restrict abortions to a certain extent, to varying degrees, but that's it. That's it. But that's the state's rights. That's the way that people look at it. But it's not like it's going to be illegal. And it's all about saying the craziest stuff as loud as possible and as in front of many people as possible and in front of as many microphones as you can get in your face as possible. That's what it's all about. But along the way, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. Trump is going to replace the moderate with somebody who's an extremist like you couldn't believe.
No, I have no hope that he will appoint anything resembling a moderate justice who will take both sides into consideration. I think what we're looking for is the nomination of a right-wing extremist.
By the way, when I hear the left talk about this, I remind them that Merrick Garland wasn't a conservative. Can we all agree on that? Even if he was a moderate, it wasn't a like for like, right? That's always what everybody says. Well, shouldn't it be like for like until it's their turn? And they don't want a like for like. But then they remind the other side, when you had a chance to pick a like for like, it's not like you chose a like for like. So slow your roll. It's amazing. It really is. But it's all about how loud can you be? How crazy can you be? What can you say that's going to get people riled up? And then how can we raise money off of it? Because that's in the end what it's about. The court still is only going to be 5-4. Now, I do think that if Trump and the Republicans happen to hold off November, that they will get another chance to add a third person to the bench, because the reality is Stephen Breyer's 79. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 85 years old. I don't see her doing this into her mid-90s. I just don't. So there you go. But just listening to the craziness of it all, listening to them fight, listening to them to say the most insane things on both sides. They're coming for your guns, right? They're coming for this. They're coming for that. They're coming for this. They're coming. The other side is they're coming to take away this. They're coming to take away that. They're going to make sure that you're back in the house, pregnant, barefoot, doing everything the man says. It's it. We worked so hard to get to this point, and in 2 seconds, they're going to snatch it all away from us. Blah. Come on. But as we've talked about, it's that Shakespearean side of things. You say stuff that is going to elicit a reaction for as many people as possible, particularly in your base. It's not about the reality of it all. It's not. It's not at all about the reality of it all. Period. Case closed. End of story. Last night, John Kennedy was on with Chris Cuomo talking about who should they pick,
I think Neil Gorsuch was an excellent choice. I don't know if Justice Gorsuch has a twin sister or twin brother, but if he does, that's the kind of person I would look for.
So you want somebody who makes conservative, extreme positions at every opportunity. That's what Gorsuch has done.
No,
he's voted with Clarence Thomas, not even Scalia as a model.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so that's not what I'm saying. That's not, no, and then they fight. And so your question to them is, so you want to find the most extremist Nazi that has a law degree and has an understanding of the Constitution based on the way that Nazis see it. It's crazy. I like Kennedy. Kennedy looked both ways, and I think that's great. But the reality is Trump gets to choose, right? They're going to sit down. They're going to figure out who they want. And they're going to go from there. Is there a short list? A lot of people think there is some sort of short list out there. We will see.
This is a transformational moment for the court and for President Trump. I am told that he's going to pick very soon. These 25 names have been vetted. A few of them have actually already been interviewed because they were on the shortest of short lists last time. And you will see, I think, within 3 weeks on the outside, you could have a nominee.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if next week we have something, because we're heading into a week where a lot of people are taking time off. You know, politically, it's that doldrum time of year, although with Trump, that never seems to ever come. But we'll be seeing people take a good portion of the week off, because they'll take off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't be surprised if they announce something then. And that way, you know, that's how they do it. You know, Friday night release kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Trump, though, as I've said, this is solidifying his legacy. Could you imagine if he had 3 or 4 picks? My God. That's legacy for years and years, but this is going to change a lot of things, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But when you listen to both sides talk, remember, it's about galvanizing. It's getting out there, getting in everybody's face. It's about getting your people ready to roar. That base, the low-hanging fruit. Most of us in the middle don't quite understand what all the hubbub's about, because we're going about our daily lives doing what? Our daily living. So because we go through our daily living and our daily lives, we don't buy into a lot of this stuff. People sit here and watch MSNBC and Fox all day long. They get into it. They fight. They take to Twitter and they take to Facebook and they do all these things and they argue and they fight amongst each other. But the rest of us, the majority of us human beings, we wake up. I woke up today. What's the first thing I did? I did a little workout and I watched the World Cup. Yeah, I've been reading all night. Yeah, I read all this morning, but I'm glued to the World Cup. Belgium. My dark horse team's getting ready to play England. My second home. Right? I'm watching that. Spoke with Jack last night. Had a great day yesterday. Big, super excited weekend Jack and I have planned. We're going to go see a movie. We got big football things. He's got a big camp he's doing on Sunday. I'm worried about those kind of things. This stuff will take care of itself, but I don't wake up with anger or excitement like so many people do out there, and fear. And what is the fear? And I look at this, you're doing a disservice to your own base when you lose your mind like this, because they're not understanding that. When you say stuff like, oh, it's going to be the most extremist person in the history of persons, and we have to fight and fight like it's the Spanish Civil War. Oh, my God, we have to say stuff like this.
Voting rights on the line. Worker rights on the line. Environmental rights on the line. What's at stake? The future of America is at stake.
That's not over the top. That's beyond over the top. God, it's insane. But that's what you're going to get over the umpteen weeks and months leading up to not only the election, but eventually the process here of vetting out and then eventually trying to confirm somebody to be the next person on the Supreme Court. You're going to get people who come out and they throw out the craziest, wackiest things. And remember, it's Shakespeare. It's WWE. It is not the reality of the world we live in. It's about galvanizing. It's about going after. It's about attacking. And it's about raising money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of stuff to get to. We're going to talk here at the bottom of the hour. This thing here, you ask people what's the most important thing in their life, minus their kids and their spouses, and maybe even above some of those, they'll tell you it's their phone, right? If we had to elect a new phone, more people would pay attention to that than what's going on in the world of politics. You can text the program 323-538-2423. Tweet at me as well, at Chad Benson Show. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Every Thursday we talk tech. Quick update on the shooting. We know the suspect is a male, ponytail, white, in his 20s. That's an odd thing. And he destroyed his fingertips, damaged his fingertips to thwart identification. Joining us now, Paul Lamone, our tech guru. Paul, they have a thing called facial recognition. It's pretty popular. Unless he destroyed his face, chances are they're going to figure out who this guy is. He didn't think this thing through.
He didn't think it through at all. And if it were in China, China's facial recognition systems are now automatically sending you jaywalking tickets. So if you walk across the street when you shouldn't, it's good enough to pick it up and send you a ticket to your home. So he's not really realizing that technology isn't Sherlock Holmes level. Oh, I've got his fingerprints because it's on the safe that he just robbed.
It's gotten a little bit better than just, we can't figure out who he is, and he burned his license, and we don't have a picture of him. An idiot, indeed. Let's talk about weird stuff that's happening in the world of technology. Mind control is always something that we've always talked about. Who knows? Maybe this guy was mind controlled. Some people will come out with that conspiracy, I'm sure. But they've mind controlled mice now, and that's interesting.
Well, what is really cool is they figured out how to control a mouse to make its way through a maze, but to make it through a maze by being controlled by basically the computer, being controlled by a user. And the funny thing is they're realizing that now they can control other aspects of these mice. They can no longer crave food, which I don't know how that's a benefit unless you want to lose weight. It can be really interesting. But it's beginning to open up this entire very bizarre door of mind control, which is, like you alluded to, the conspiracy theorists used to think it's the MK Ultra stuff, where MK Ultra was a program that would try and turn people into like these government-controlled assassins. Well, now they can implant these chips into the brains and create basically cyborgs, where a mouse for now can be remote controlled. They've been doing this on roaches and bugs, and they're starting to move up the food chain. So it's kind of interesting and creepy. You
talked about the food side of things, but if you could, I guess, stop people from eating, it'd be probably safer, longer term, and better for you than some of the drastic surgeries that people are having, even though I know those have gotten less invasive over time. But still, this might be an alternative to that.
This is working on this, which is terrifying, alternative to saying that we're going to adjust your brain so we can, from the outside, control behaviors that you don't want to put the discipline into controlling yourself a lot of times. All of a sudden you're like, no, I don't want that extra piece of chocolate cake, or I don't want to eat that, chili cheeseburger. Well, now they'll be able to, not right now, but this is what it's working up to, being able to modify basic human functions by implanting chips into the brain. The scary thing is how deep could this modification of your actions go? If they can turn off some pretty fundamental things like hunger, what other nudges can they make? Maybe they can't control you like a robot, but could all of a sudden you have, just a need or a want to buy merchandise? Would Amazon get a hold of this at one point? And all of a sudden you really need to buy something?
Everything comes back to Amazon. Everything
comes back to Amazon. Everything comes back to this idea that we as humans like to pursue these scientific endeavors because they're interesting, but they always have a potential Frankensteinian bad result that if we're not careful with, we're opening our own Pandora's box of something horrible.
Yeah, talking to Paul Lamone, our tech guru. And speaking of that, we got about a minute here. AI predicting your death. That is creepy. And in itself, again, another creepy thing. Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Google's new AI wants to predict when a patient will die, and it can do it. And Google's now saying, hey, hospitals and your medical providers, give us all your patients' info. We'll tell you when we think they're going to die, and you can create treatment plans that can be responsive to what their potential diagnosis will be in the future and when we think they'll die. That's very creepy. In a nutshell, because we don't have a lot of time, it's a creepy way to try and push this artificial intelligence learning systems to really become something where if the insurance company's got a hold of something and they put your medical history through it and they go, hey, look, we can't insure you because you're going to die in 3 years of something horrible. Again, it's starting to give us on the path of good to help us figure out treatments, bad to who really wants to know when they're going to die.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's horrible. The thought process, but the reality is somebody's going to cross that line, and once one does, everybody follows along. His name is Paul Lamone. He's our tech guru. Appreciate you coming on today. And a short version of Tech Talk, as we got all the things going around the shooting. But we'll talk to you soon, my man.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, 323-538-2423. Look, the shooting today, I don't know what it's about. I'm getting tons of tech messages. I know exactly what it is. I heard. Nobody knows what it is. This guy's not cooperating. I don't know how you know when they don't know. It was a horrible, bad situation. And yet again, another bad situation that took place where somebody decided based on whatever reasons. And obviously, this isn't a knee-jerk reaction that took place today. If you're willing to go alter your fingertips, and supposedly you have smoke bombs and flashbangs in a backpack, this is more of a thought-out plan than just I'm angry, knee-jerk reaction. Why is he angry? That's what they're trying to find out. He's given the authorities nothing. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. Want to hear from you. The good, the bad, and the hate. I'm okay with that. It's got some good hate text. How horrible I am. I'm okay with that. Part of the business, man. It's part of the business. Can't take the heat. Do what? Get out the kitchen. That's what you got to do. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Myself and the medical director are responding to the active shooter at 888 Beskey with TAC team.
Several shots have been fired. Possible shotgun. At least 10 shots heard.
Serve off to all units. All units, limit your transmissions. Do we have any kind of intel on our shooter? Mike Mel with the ponytail.
Command copy. Suspect in custody per PD.
Yes, he's in custody. He was found underneath a desk inside of the newsroom at the Capital Gazette in Annapolis. He is alive and not cooperating whatsoever. What we're hearing is he is a white male with a ponytail, as you heard that, in his mid to upper 20s. But he's damaged his fingertips, and so nobody can print him, apparently, because he doesn't know we have technology. And that with facial recognition, we'll probably figure out who he is, unless he has damaged his face in some way, shape, or form, which I don't know about. But what we do know is he shot his way in to this.
It's interesting how he appeared to have entered the paper by shooting out the door. Now, was that a functional reason because it maybe had some sort of maglock on it or swipe card, you couldn't get in? Or did he just want to be that spectacular? Or he's now drawing everyone toward him?
Don't know. Do know he killed 5 and he wounded severely 7, not 70, but 7, pardon my language there. And those 7 are gravely injured and fighting for their lives right now. It is again another bizarre world that we live in, a twist of fate. Why this? Everybody's out there trying to figure it out right now. They're looking for the why because, we always want to know why any of these people do these things. What caused somebody to go into a nightclub in Orlando? What caused somebody to spend 5 days gambling or whatever it was and then to eventually blast a bunch of people at a country concert? What caused a kid who, why was he so pissed at the world and his old classmates that he decided to blast it up? These are the reasons that keep these guys up at night, and they're trying to figure out why. But one of the other reasons is when they figure out the why, they can figure out what may be next, and could these things be prevented?
As horrid as this is another situation that law enforcement is going to learn from. Every time you have an active shooter, a tragic shooting like this, law enforcement not only will do the investigation, but they'll also do an after-action report on what happened, what could have helped prevent this situation from occurring.
And again, what they're looking for, too, is who knew what. Because rarely does anybody do this without somebody suspecting that somebody's going to do something. But when you go, if this is true, to the point where you're going to alter your fingertips as much as you can in hopes that if they take you into custody because you're too much of a wuss to end your own life. Oh, Chad, that is wrong. I'm just saying. After you killed 5 people innocently doing nothing, and 7 people you've wounded who are fighting for their lives, you altered 12 people's lives and their family's life forever. And you thought, I'm going to take my fingertips and I'm going to alter them so no one can find out who I am? You thought this thing through. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. This wasn't I got an idea. I'm mad at them today, so I'm going to go down and do something with your ponytail. Who's a ponytail? But it's horrible. Another horrible situation. This is a woman by the name of Lindsay. She worked at the Capitol Gazette, and she was there at the time of the shooting.
I heard some gunshots, and then I heard a bunch of screaming and commotion. So I looked, and I saw a woman laying on the floor, broken glass everywhere, and blood. She did not respond, and she didn't move, but she was breathing. I went up to her, and I asked, ma'am, are you okay? No response, nothing. And then right as soon as I said that, I heard another gunshot, and at that time I knew what was happening, so I ran out of the building.
So he blasted the door of the building, and again, there's a newsroom. If you go into any of these places, it's not like you see all these shows on TV, and anymore it's nowhere near that because news staffs across the country, media staffs across the country have been cut tremendously. So a lot of times you go into there are probably places he could have gone in where he might have been the only person in the building in that area. So did he know his way around there? But you look at a building, and the building is a fairly decent size, and you look at that, and you think to yourself, okay, was he targeting specifically the newsroom? Was he targeting anybody in the building? Was he looking to do the most damage as possible? He had a shotgun, apparently. You ask all of these questions. And so, because I've been up to a few newsrooms over the last few years, paper newsrooms. Obviously, I'm in a newsroom now, and I've been up to a few paper newsrooms. And I will tell you this. You have a lot of people that work in sales. You have a few people that work in accounts receivable and some of the management. And then you have even a smaller amount of people now that work for the actual paper side of it, for the, the writing and the distributing of the news and the editing and the whole 9 yards. So why he did this, nobody knows. It's an interesting, situation because we're living in this day and age now where everybody's threatening to do all kinds of things to people on, Facebook and Twitter. And we've given people an outlet of anger that they figure, they lead a lot of these people, I'll say it, a lot of these people lead these pathetic little lives. And this is their way, Facebook and social media, of making themselves feel better by attacking whoever. And they do. And it's sad. And the question needs to be asked, was this a specific target of news people, or was this just, I'm pissed, and this is the building I'm choosing to go into? Is that what it was? Here's another person that was there, and he saw the suspect.
This guy was holding what looked like a big shotgun and moving across the entrance of the Capitol Gazette office, pointing the gun deeper into the office, like he was targeting people.
Yeah. And was he targeting specific people? And the questions are out there. I mean, obviously, is this somebody's getting back at the news? And it could be for a myriad of things. It couldn't be. Maybe it has nothing to do with the politics. Because obviously that's where a lot of people's minds have gone today. My mind went there. It's like, did somebody go after news people because of whatever reason, right? They supported Trump. They didn't support Trump. Whatever reason, they're angry and they went after him. Or did they write a horrible story about him and his business or something like that? Is that a possibility? Was it a lover's quarrel that brought him to this? Who knows? And I don't think we're going to find out anything anytime soon at all until they identify him. And then pieces will come together, because the minute he's identified, as we all know, they'll figure out a way to figure out where he's from in the area. They'll go over to his house, his known haunts, people that may have known this guy, try to get as much information about it as possible. And I'm sure there's some people in the local area right now going, wow, I can't believe this is on TV. Where's so-and-so? Uh-oh. Just saying. So it's sad. It's sad. Again, another mindless shooting. Somebody, for whatever reason, is pissed off and angry at the world because life has treated him unfairly. And this is the way that he feels he needs to go out there and take care of business. And he's going to get, by the way, it does make you even with life, right? You're an awful human being. You're still an awful human being. And you're a failure. You're still a failure. Sad. So sad. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love it when you do. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. By the way, we have a poll up today. We're going to talk to a lady in a little while. Get a little bit off this subject. We're going to touch more on this. We're going to talk to a woman who is, we're so obsessed with all kinds of things. And I don't know if that's really a good thing, especially with this social media and all of these things now. And a lot of it comes through our phone. And she's got a new book out called How to Break Up with Your Phone. Very interesting book. And it's not breaking up with your phone like throwing it away. It's just how to get back some normalcy and balance in your life, which I think all of us every once in a while could do with a good dosage of that. You know what? Last night was a perfect example of me. So I've been sleeping a lot better, but I'm still tired. I work a lot of hours. Last week, I think I worked 80-some hours. 80-some plus hours I worked. And, traveling this weekend on top of working, seeing Jack, doing all these things. Every once in a while, I need not just a good night's sleep, the greatest night's sleep ever. And I shut off last night. And normally I would fall asleep as early as I did once in a great while, if ever. I fell asleep at 8:55 with my MyPillow. I didn't wake up till like 5:30 this morning. I was out like a light. It was the best night of sleep I have had. Maybe in my adult life. Like, literally, this pillow is incredible, right? Because the bed's the same, the blanket and the sheets are the same, everything's the same except for the pillow. And I'm like, this pillow is absolutely, and I was already sleeping better, but last night was the absolute best night of sleep I've ever got. Look, MyPillow is incredible. Try it for yourself. All right, go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Benson. Right now, 2 premium pillows, 1 low price, free shipping, 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. And again, free shipping, limited time offer. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. If you sleep half as good as I slept last night, it'll be the greatest night's sleep of your life. Call 800-983-4975. That's 800-983-4975. Use my code Benson or go to mypillow.com. Use my code Benson. Mypillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CHADBENSON. You can text the program as well. Do you think you are addicted to phones? Let me know. Tweet at me. You can also take the old Twitter poll there on Twitter at Chad Benson Show. It is the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Yeah, rarely am I outraged. I'm amazed, and I shouldn't be, that people get as angry over stuff as they do. And I see it. I hear it every day. I get tweeted stuff. You can see the stuff that, the stuff, how horrible I am, blah, 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 the threats I get. It is all this. It's the same person. It is. By and large, it's the same person. And I don't mean it's the same person. It's one person. It's he's just the same person. You pick a state, there's plenty of them. And they're pissed off and angry at the world. And they're mad because the world didn't give them the things that they thought they deserved. Their life has passed them by. Both sides of the aisle are angry. What are you angry about? We live in the greatest country in the history of the world at the greatest time in the history of time. You have opportunities everywhere. And you sit around and you fill your head with crap all day long. You know what you're afraid of? People are afraid of fake news, or people are afraid of this, or people are afraid of that, or people are afraid of? They're afraid of truth. Truth will smack them upside the head. And they hate that because we have now cloaked ourselves in this bizarre, this is who I am. And because this is who I am, I have to, it's not who you are. You're all kinds of things. You're a mother, you're a father, right? You're a little league coach, you're a business owner, you're whatever you are, right? You're a son, you're a husband, you're a wife, that's not who you are. That's a piece of what you believe. It's not who you are. But we've gotten that way. We are so close-minded, and we should be open-minded. I want to play a little bit of something for you. Two people who were polar opposites in life. One, a liberal, progressive, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. One that all you conservatives out there, right? All of you loved Anton Scalia. And who were they? They were best friends. They were buddies. They were pals. They disagreed with one another, but they did it in a civil manner. And by the way, it was their ideas, not the people.
I attack ideas. I don't attack people. And some very good people have some very bad ideas. and if you can't separate the two, you got to get another day job. You don't want to be a judge, at least not a judge on a multi-member panel.
And that should go for everybody. If you can't separate that's somebody's idea, then you got to look elsewhere in life. Man, you really do. It is. I get it. You know what? You're pissed. I don't know why you're pissed. I don't know why. But so many people are so angry all the time. And social media has now given us a platform for people who are pissed and angry and who feel little in the world to go out and vent their problems and their anger at whoever they feel they need to put it out to. As if somehow that equals everything. It levels the playing ground. Ha, ha, yeah, you got it. That's what I said about you. Yeah, I'll threaten you again. It's amazing. But when you can see that there are two people there, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, again, progressive, left, big time. Anton Scalia, before he passed away, the rock conservative that even other conservatives like, that guy's like uber conservative. The guy who was a constitutionalist, the guy who led that court. Totally polar opposites. Yet they vacationed together. They raised their families together. They were friends together. They were so many things together. And they even disagreed in such a way that they respected each other's thoughts. And we don't do that anymore. We don't do any of that. We just, that's all we are. That's all we are. What can I say to hit below the belt? That's it. And it shouldn't amaze me because I used to think we're better than that. But are we? Are we anymore? Social media has given everybody a platform and a vehicle which to use and to vent their anger and to try to make themselves feel better over their crap-ass lives. That's the reality. For some, not for all. Most of the people use it for fun. Most of the people use it to have an okay conversation with some people. But for a small, minute group on both the left and the right, nope. They're angry and they're pissed. Relax. It's going to be okay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us if you want to. Use that evil, angry Twitter. You can text the program as well. Coming up next, Catherine Price. She's going to teach you how to break up with your phone, but not fully break up with your phone. Just maybe take a step back and get a new perspective. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You can call it a phone. You can call it a distraction. You call it a mobile, a cellular device, smartphone. It's basically a mini computer in our hands, and the phone's usually the last thing we use it for. But the reality is we as a nation, we as a people have an addiction to it. Sometimes we need to break up with things. And joining us now is Catherine Price. Her book is How to Break Up with Your Phone is out. You can get it where good books are available. And how do we break up with our phone, Catherine?
Well, that's a good question. First, I should clarify before your listeners turn off the radio, not talking about throwing out your phone. We're talking about creating a healthier relationship with your phone that has better boundaries so that you use it when it's fun or truly useful, but you have fewer of those moments where you look down at your hand and find your phone there and have no idea how it got there.
It's tough because, as I'm reading some of it and stuff, we all are guilty of it. We spend so much time on the phone. Some of it is to escape. Some of it is because we're bored and it's something to do. Some of it's entertainment and some of it is work, but we're doing it 24/7. And the first thing we reach for, Catherine, in the morning is usually our phone.
Yeah, it becomes pretty crazy when you start to look at some of the statistics. There's an app called Moment that is the time tracking app, has almost 5 million users on it, and the average person who uses that app is spending 4 hours a day on their phones just with the screen on. So not like right now when my phone, the screen is off because we're talking to each other, just with the screen on. So that is a quarter of your waking life, which is really actually probably more time than you're spending with the people you're actually in relationships with. And when you start looking at it that way, you start to think, this is a little bit crazy. So, to answer your question about what do you do about it, the first main step is just to notice what you're actually doing and how much time you're spending, and then to ask yourself, what's actually important to your life? What role do you want Facebook to play, and try to get your priorities realigned.
Talking to Catherine Price, her book is How to Break Up with Your Phone. It's about finding those boundaries that are somewhat healthy, but we also live in a very mobile world where we're able to do a lot of things and have more free time because of our phone, but it also causes us at times to be on our phone because we can work from home. We can work mobilely. How do you balance that?
Well, I think the important thing to realize is there's really useful uses of our phones, and we do get to use them for all sorts of stuff we wouldn't want to give them up for. But the stuff you're talking about, actual productive uses of the phone for work or for entertainment, is very different from people texting while driving or people sitting at a restaurant where everybody has their phone out at the meal where they're supposedly interacting with each other. So I think the first thing is to really start to notice the difference between phone time that actually has a purpose or is fun, really fun, versus just kind of like the mindless distraction that sucks minutes and hours from our days.
And it does suck minutes and hours. There's apps out there that can help you. And I think the thing is, these apps would be more popular if I think they didn't shame people, because I doubt any of us really want to find out how many times we pick up our phone, touch our phone, or waste time on our phone. So we'd rather not hear that kind of news.
Well, actually, what's really funny is sometimes when people hear those statistics 4 hours a day, or it's like, I never know what to trust in terms of the number of pickups. People will say, oh, wow, I guess I'm better than average. Like, even if they have a crazy amount of time they spend on their phone and pickups, they somehow feel it's better. But I think it's important. You don't need to be ashamed. Your phone and the apps on it are designed to steal your attention. That's how they make money. So, and they activate brain circuitry, the same circuitry that's activated in traditional addiction. So if you find yourself compulsively reaching for your phone, it's actually, in a way, not your fault because it's designed to do that. So you don't need to feel ashamed of it. But once you recognize what you're doing, it then becomes upon you to do something about it. So I actually think it's really empowering to realize how much of your time is being taken by this device, and then to ask yourself, wait, I'm the human being in this relationship. I can choose. There's nobody who can stop me from putting my phone down. So I need to just figure out when I actually want to be using my phone. And then you can set boundaries, and it can be difficult because, again, our phones are designed to be really fun to use. But I've been working on this for, the project about 3 years total. The book came out about 6 months ago. And it's really, my life is much better now than it was before. I have much better control of my time, both on and off my phone.
Talking to Catherine Price, How to Break Up with Your Phone. That's her new book. And, you talk about that. As you put this thing together over those 3 years, what did you learn about how we use our phones, and also how about yourself? What did you learn about yourself as far as your relationship with your phone?
Well, I wouldn't say that I was I always ask myself, was I fully addicted to my phone? And actually, yes, I was, in the sense that all of us have the same brain circuitry, and phones tap into our dopamine systems and get us to release dopamine every time we reach for the phone. Dopamine is a chemical that tells us when something is worth doing again. So it's a really useful chemical because it teaches us or makes us remember to eat or to procreate or whatever. But it can be also the cause of addictions and bad habits. And I think what I realized about my own life is that I wasn't someone who was locking myself in a basement and playing video games for 10 hours a day, but I did find my phone in my hand all the time without really knowing how it had gotten there or what I'd done with the past 20 minutes of my life. And I had the feeling that you get when you binge on junk food, where at first you're like, oh, this tastes good, even though I know it's kind of bad for me. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, what did I just do to myself? So I had a number of, that was a frequent occurrence. And so through the course of researching and writing this book, I started to learn about why that was happening to me, and then what I could do to take back control and use my phone when I wanted to, and for things that were useful, but also like have fewer of those moments where you look down and just feel disgusting about yourself.
Oh, you know what? I think we've all been there. And not only that, I think we're at this point too, Catherine, where we use our phones to document so much of things that are going on in our life and not actually live the part of our life that's going out there. It's not even just about, even if we're doing something as a family, we're documenting that, and then we're going to look back on it and realize we didn't actually live that moment.
It's very true. It's kind of like the old expression of if a tree falls in a forest and nobody hears it. It's like if something happened and you didn't post it on Instagram, did it really happen at all? I think we need to get back to the point of saying, yeah, it did happen. And also asking yourself, like, for example, I really like taking photos. I do agree with you. I think the over-documentation for me is also an issue, but I don't want to post them on Instagram. So I think each of us has to, decide for ourselves how many photos in that case, how much recording is actually fun and doesn't take you out of the experience, and then when does it cross the line to the point where every experience you have is now a curated thing to be posted and shared with the world, so they can comment on it and like or unlike you. That's where I think it starts to get to be a very strange cultural phenomenon. But I completely agree. It's like we've gotten to a point where we have the tools that allow us to record every moment of our lives, and as a result, we're not actually living our lives.
What's the feedback been? Have you had people coming up to you saying, I've tried, I can't get away from it? And you've had people come up to you and going, you know what, it's been amazing. And I've gotten so much of my life back that I didn't know I was losing.
Well, I've had actually really positive feedback. And the biggest message I get is people saying, well, thank you for not making me feel like it has to be a perfect all or nothing thing. Thank you for not for allowing me not to be successful all the time. Because I think one thing we do is we tend to, well, first of all, we say, oh, I need to spend less time on my phone. We don't figure out why we want to spend less time on our phone or what we want to do with the time that we're going to get back. So then it just feels like a restriction and a diet, and it's not very productive. We need to first say, what do you want to be doing more of, and how's your phone getting in the way? And so it's been interesting to hear people's feedback that question is actually a really hard one to answer, as simple as it might sound. But once you do have an answer, it's very empowering. Because if you say, okay, well, I want to read more for pleasure, but I keep checking my Twitter before bed. Now you have a specific goal. I want to stop checking Twitter before bed because I want to read more for pleasure. That's very different from I want to spend less time on my phone. And that's a little twist that can be used to set goals in all other areas of your life, too. And so it's been really neat for me as a writer to hear from people about how they've been able to use the advice and the strategies in the book to make positive changes in areas of their life that seemingly have nothing to do with their phones. It's been really, really, really inspiring to me.
I'm talking to Catherine Price. Her book's called How to Break Up with Your Phone. And I like the fact that it's not all or nothing, because I think we live in this world where we've made everything so black and white. And the reality is we live mostly in the gray. And we do need these phones for stuff. I mean, we do need them because we do work on them. I read probably 200 articles a day. I'm not going to sit in front of a computer and do that. I don't have the time. I'm busy doing other things. Plus, I'm doing the show, the whole 9 yards. And we do use it for other things. And I think the problem is, like with dieting and everything else, is it's more of a lifestyle change than a give it up or else kind of thing.
Oh, yes, you are cutting out a little bit. But yeah, no, dieting. Who wants to be on a diet? No one wants to be on a diet. Diets are not fun. But if you actually are eating in a way that makes you feel good and happy, that's a much more positive thing. Once you recognize that eating a bag and a half of Doritos does not make you feel very good afterwards, and you realize you don't want to be doing that, that's a lot different from saying, I can't eat Doritos. You go from thinking, I can't, to I don't want to. Or I would rather eat, whatever else it is that is your new indulgence. And that's the same thing with your phones. But the first step to making that change is to really recognize what you're doing and to start being more aware of your own actions. And then really importantly, how do you feel when you're using your phone? Just start checking in with yourself mentally and even physically. Because when you check your phone, you're actually releasing stress hormones and neurotransmitters such as dopamine that result in feelings of excitement and stress. And sometimes we mistake that excitement for happiness, and they're not the same thing. And once you realize you're really checking your phone and just getting this constant kind of hits of dopamine that make you feel excited but empty afterwards, it's easier to be like, you know what, maybe I'd rather do something that brings me true happiness, like spend time with a friend or play music or, read, whatever it may be.
What's one thing you can give the audience advice-wise if they want to step away from their phone? What's one little thing that they can do that may give them 5 or 10 minutes a day back that they didn't even think existed?
Well, pick 5 or 10 minutes where it would be nice to not have your phone. I mean, not when you restrict yourself, but when it would feel nice. So say, for example, go for a walk with your pet or your, kid or your spouse or partner without your phone and notice how you feel. And just notice. And the chances are you'll feel twitchy at first, and that's because you're actually releasing stress hormones that are the result of you wanting to check. But after a little while, you may begin to feel this sense of calm that surprises you. And that's because our phones are basically keeping us at a heightened state of adrenaline, where we're in a fight or flight state all the time. And if you take even a small break, like 5-10 minutes, you may start to begin to notice a difference. And 5 to 10 minutes is manageable. You can pick up your phone right afterwards. It's fine. The other thing I would say is try to remind yourself to just check in with yourself and ask yourself what you want to pay attention to. And I've created free resources at phonebreakup.com people can use, including a lock screen that says what do you want to pay attention to you can use on your phone. So when you automatically go to check it, you're reminded to ask yourself, do I really want to do this right now? And if you do, it's fine. There's no judgment there. Maybe you want to spend 30 minutes on Facebook, but it's the result of a conscious choice. So that's really the goal. You want your phone time to be the result of a conscious choice because you want to do it, not because you've gotten manipulated into it.
The book is interesting to say the least, and in this day and age, I think we all need a reality check. How to Break Up with Your Phone. Catherine Price, we appreciate you coming on today and not shaming us all into how much we use our phone, and we look forward to reading this. Thanks so very much.
No shame. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can also text us, 323-538-2423. We love our phones. I'm addicted. There's no shame in the game that I use my phone probably way too much. But there are certain times where I just don't. I do a lot of walking. I probably walk about 12 to 15,000 steps a day. Some days 20,000 steps, and majority of that is without my phone. And when I'm with Jack, I may take a picture of him and I doing something fun, and the rest of the time the phone is away. But I think for all of us, we probably use it too much. And there are too many ways that you could go out there and you could look on certain apps and find out how many times you pick up your phone and how many times you have it on that would probably make you step back and go, wow, I had no idea. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Trade your social media addiction in for a healthier vice. No 12-step program needed for this habit.
Yeah! I like it.
The Chad Benson Show.
This guy was holding what looked like a big shotgun and moving across the entrance of the Capitol Gazette office, pointing the gun deeper into the office, like he was targeting people.
Was he? We're going to find out. Apparently, he, the shooter, had previously had some interaction with the newspaper, particularly an executive there. That's what they're reporting. I don't know how true it is or isn't. The reality is these things are still going on, and it's going to be fluid for the next couple days. He's still not cooperating whatsoever with anybody. And he had gone to the point where he had, got rid of his fingerprints, or at least tried to, literally burned his fingerprints off. That's what I'm assuming he tried to do. How he did it, I don't know. But that shows me that this was definitely something that he wanted to do. And if you're the media right now, you're waiting to find out what took place. What took place here? Was this a targeted attack? As in, I don't like the media? Or was this, I don't like that guy? Because what I haven't heard, I think we can almost rule out disgruntled ex-employee because nobody seems to know who this guy is. And we are not hearing of whether or not there was a relationship with any of the deceased or people that are wounded. We're not hearing about any of that. So then it was, did the paper do something to this guy? That's always something that might be true. Did they report something to be false? Or at least he thought it was false? I don't know. Or was the media targeted for this? That's going to be interesting to find out.
It's a prudent move primarily for copycats. My guess is that this shooter is a local situation, not tied to any large group that wants to attack, for example, the media.
No. It could be something as simple as they wrote a bad report about maybe a restaurant that was his. Who knows what it is? We're going to find out, I'm sure, over time. But it's still an awful situation. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. There's an interesting conversation with Catherine Price right there of the phones. We are so addicted. We are, and it's so weird because we don't know what to do with our phones because we need them. We like them. They give us a certain sense of joy. We need them because it's how we stay connected, not only to everybody, but connected to work and so many things like that. I don't know. It's frustrating because I think, my big thing is, and it has become more and more so, even with Jack as a perfect example, because I love to use my son because I like to share my life, that I like experiences now, like presents, birthday and Christmas and stuff. To me, it's more about experiences. What is he going to take with him? And I see it when I go places. Like we'll go to certain places, and we're blessed that we get to do a lot of things. And we'll go to certain places, and I see everybody taking thousands of pictures, and they're living on their phone in a place. They're not living in the moment. And I think you should live in the moment, right, as much as possible. It's okay to take some pictures. Nothing wrong with that. It's okay to capture some. But how many pictures do you need? That's my thing. How many pictures does one human being need? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So Milo Yiannopoulos, who is, of course, another provocateur, apparently said he was joking when he was talking about that journalists should be gunned down on sight. And that it was supposed to be a private joke that somehow got out to the world. And there goes I'm going to come back in from the cold of the entertainment world and the political world, who's kind of shunned me right now for my comments I made earlier that were also supposed to be provocative, but crossed the line. So talk about kicking yourself in the foot. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got a poll question up today. Are you addicted to your phone? Most of you, I think, are being honest. Most of you. But 41% say yes. 21% say no. 38% say maybe. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can text us on that very same phone, 323-538-2423. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I think this is going to be the fight of the century. I think the Democrats have to say, no way, non passario, no one passes this line. I think it's going to be almost like Spanish Civil War stuff. You watch the next few months.
Craziness. You come out, you talk about it, you freak out. It's a civil war. Do you see that, what is it, some 39% of Americans thinks that we're close to having some sort of civil war? Based on what? First of all, I'm surprised you found 39% that can agree on anything, but based on what? Rhetoric from a bunch of politicians that really have no effect on your life on a day-to-day basis? Right? Because you have politicians that come out and they say crazy things. Yeah, our president last night saying stuff like this.
Democrats want judges who will rewrite the Constitution any way they want to do it and take away your Second Amendment, erase your borders, throw open the jailhouse doors, and destroy your freedoms.
It's insane. That's not the truth. I'm here to tell you right now, that's not the truth. Just like you have crazy moments from crazy people who come out and say like this.
Voting rights on the line. Worker rights on the line. Environmental rights on the line. What's at stake? The future of America is at stake.
You sit there and shake your head, right? You sit here and you shake your head. You talk about this, and then you get passionate about it, and then somebody else gets heated and they get passionate about it, and the next thing you know, you're tweeting back and forth, and you think the person's tweeting you is angry and mad. All the while, the person tweeting you is doing something else, having something to eat. Now they reply to your comment, and then you reply to theirs, and they think that you're mad, and you're doing it. And the next thing you guys know, you guys are doing other things, and you're not really paying attention, but you're tweeting back and forth, and this is where the Civil War is supposed to come from. It's not going to happen. It's not. The Democrats don't want to steal everything. Do they want some form of gun control that makes their base happy? Yeah, but did they really want to see it go away? No, because quite frankly, they like the fact they can raise money on it. Right? They do. Do the right want to take away all rights for people of color and put them back in chains and put women back into the kitchen pregnant and stuff? And no, they don't. But that's how they raise money, and it's about getting you to get angry at one another so you take some form of action, because that's the only thing they know to do anymore. But I'm going to tell you guys something. Two people on the Supreme Court who, for all intents and purposes, were polar opposites. One was about 20 plus years older than her counterpart. She still serves today. The other one was the conservative champion of champions who cared more about the Constitution. These two people, or somebody in Oklahoma and somebody in San Francisco fighting, not knowing the reality of the whole thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a champion for the left. Anton Scalia, a champion for the right. Yet these two people weren't just friends. They were best of friends.
I think those views are just flat out wrong.
He's talking about some of his fellow justices, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a liberal who is, and this never ceases to surprise people, one of his best friends, both on and off the court.
I see the Constitution as striving for a more perfect union.
To her, the Constitution evolves and should reflect changes in society. That going back to what was meant originally when they wrote, for instance, "We the people," makes little sense.
There they are. Two polar opposites. Yet they managed to have a friendship and a relationship, both privately as two friends would, and business-wise. in the jobs that they held at the highest courts of the land. They had differences, but they managed to be friends. Because we've lost this way of being civil to one another and respecting that each other may not agree with each other. And instead, we throw everything out with the bathwater. We don't care. It's over. It's done. And we talk about a civil war because of things like the Supreme Court and this, that. It's insane. If these two can be friends, then can't we have some sort of civility? Because let's be real here. You may love the Constitution, but I doubt you loved it as much as Anton Scalia or Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I doubt you know it as much as them. And I doubt you understand the law as much as them. I know I don't. I'm the first one to raise my hand and said, no, probably not. Oh, I love the freedoms we have. I love the Constitution. But as far as an understanding and all these things, I doubt. These people have dedicated their lives to get there. And if they can be on polar opposites, yet somehow manage to be not only civil to each other, but work with each other in a way that they had a blossoming friendship. It's amazing. Yet we can't get along because we disagree on a Twitter or because we see somebody throwing firebombs on the old television screaming that the world's coming to some sort of end.
Were we the people in 1787? You would not be among we the people. African Americans would not be among the people.
Justice Ginsburg and you disagree.
We do indeed.
Lots of things. And yet you're such good friends.
Yeah, not just good friends. They were great friends. They vacationed together. They hung out together. They disagreed together. But they did it in such ways where they also realized that it was something. It wasn't the person at all. And that we don't separate that anymore.
I attack ideas. I don't attack people. And some very good people have some very bad ideas. and if you can't separate the two, you got to get another day job. You don't want to be a judge, at least not a judge on a multi-member panel.
But I think that needs to be all of us. If you can't separate the two, we don't anymore. We don't. You know, one of the things I pride myself on is the fact that I have friends of all makes, if you will. Right, because we always have to check off boxes. They're just my friends. They're people who I consider, some of them, family, more so than even friends. They've been there with me through the darkest times, and I've been there with them. I've got a friend who's very conservative, my best buddy Kenny. His wife just had massive heart surgery. She had cancer twice when she was younger, and this is something that had to happen. So all of us together are talking, we're sending love, and we're calling every day, we're checking. And a lot of our friends are extremely progressive. But we've separated some of our ideas from our friendship. And we're able to talk about it and discuss it. And I think, to me, that is so important. But we've lost our way in this country. So when you hear things like 39% of us think there's going to be a civil war, some ridiculous number, I'm like, 39%? Who thinks this? Who thinks there's going to be a civil war? It's coming, Chad. It's not coming. It's not coming. Again, you could look at somebody and go, I disagree with your ideas. Here's the facts I have. You look at their facts, and then you go from there. Their idea is not that person as a whole, but we don't separate that anymore. Right? We don't separate that anymore. And that right there is ridiculous. Because why? Because we have now cloaked ourselves in a situation where we look around and whatever political ideology we have, we cloak ourselves in that. And we say to ourselves, boom, this is who I am as a human being. I am this. So when somebody challenges you, you take it so personally. When no, that's an idea of what you have, but you are more than that. You're a father, you're a mother, you're a business owner, you're so many of these things that we probably agree with. But because you've cloaked yourself in that and you only see yourself in that, we've taken everything personally, and that's ridiculous.
But do you ever take it personally?
No, I take it as a challenge. How am I going to answer this in a way that's a real put down?
I'm trying to figure out if there was ever real anger.
I would say exasperation is the word. As annoyed as you might be about his zinging dissent, he is so utterly charming, so amusing, so sometimes outrageous, but you can't help but saying, I'm glad that he's my friend or he's my colleague.
Because she saw past it, and he saw past it. And he knew the brilliance of her, and she knew the brilliance of them, and it wasn't personal. But so many people now have cloaked themselves in this bizarre ideology of tribalism that they make everything personal, and that is so stupid and so short-sighted. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I want to hear from you. Question of the day is, are you addicted to your smartphone? Are you addicted to your smartphone? Some of you, I think, are being honest. I will tell you this. I know I probably spend too much time on my phone. 28% say yes, 17% says no, 55% says maybe. Meaning there's probably times you feel addicted, and there's probably times where you're like, oh, I haven't checked my phone for a couple hours. Let me know. 323-538-2423. Take the poll at Facebook or at Chad Benson Show. I invest, right? Like that's kind of my jam. I did this for a while as a career. I've had many things that I've done. Radio was always my first love outside of soccer. But for a while I chased the money, and I was always interested in the financial world. And I was always like a lot of people, I'm always looking for what's next, right? What's the next thing that's going to be big? And when cryptocurrency started taking off, we got in early. We've been very fortunate. And it's an interesting thing because so many people ask me, well, I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that. Because it's not like, oh, you just call up your broker. But more and more companies, Vanguard and stuff, they're getting into cryptocurrencies. They understand where it's going and the possibilities of what it might be. So you should take a look at it. Great course out right now. It's going to teach you everything you need to know from top to bottom. What are they? How do they work? Where can I spend them? Where do I buy them? What's a blockchain? All of these things, because there's a lot of questions out there that people just don't know. And before you make an educated decision, you should get some education on it. Tiki Tawari from the Palm Beach Letters put together an amazing course. You can check it out for yourself at amazingcryptoclass.com. Amazingcryptoclass.com. Worst case scenario is you get a little education in something. Best case scenario is you learn something, you diversify, and you make a little money. Check out for yourself. Amazingcryptoclass.com. It's amazingcryptoclass.com. It is the Chad Benson Show.
That sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
Margaritas, Mexican food, and some high-visibility real estate right along Highway 29 in Napa. Yet owner Norm Sawicki says customers are mistaking his Red Hen for being affiliated with this Red Hen in Lexington, Virginia.
We got hundreds and hundreds of phone calls saying how nasty we were.
Why? Oh, that's right, because of Sarah Huckabee Sanders being tossed out. Now, by the way, they have nothing to do with each other. But this is the craziness of the world we live in. Somebody sees, oh, the Red Hen threw somebody out. Well, we've got a Red Hen here, too, and we're going to go after that Red Hen, and we'll show them. Somebody was arrested yesterday at the Red Hen in Virginia for throwing chicken fecal matter as they protest out there. But this poor guy, right? It just happens to be a coincidence of the name. And next thing you know, they're attacked because nobody bothers to do due diligence because we're lazy. And for some people, it's a double whammy. They're lazy and stupid.
Norm says after the owner of Lexington's Red Hen asked President Trump's press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to leave her restaurant Friday night, a barrage of insults ensued. Yelp even posted an alert saying they were cleaning up the reviews on Norm's restaurant's page, which came from both sides of the political aisle.
Yeah, because you did have people going there. Yeah, that's great. You did that. That's horrible. And then other people going on. Oh, my goodness. How could you, do that to somebody? And it's just stupid. Right? You get the right and the left. But once again, nobody does due diligence. Nobody does. Right? Nobody does due diligence whatsoever. They go in. And by the way, Norm takes the Michael Jordan approach to these things, which is Republicans buy snacks and food as well.
I thought it was very weird. I mean, we're not political here, We're open to everybody. And unless you're disorderly, I want you as a customer.
There you go. And the famous line from Michael Jordan is, why people ask him, why isn't he more political back in the day? Why doesn't he use his power, that he had being the most famous athlete on earth at the time? And he said simply, Republicans buy shoes too. Now athletes have gone in a different direction. But the thing is, if one athlete protests, right, or does something, we don't hate another athlete on the other side of the country that has nothing to do with it. But that's what people are doing because they're so stupid. They are. They're just ridiculous.
This morning I actually Googled it because if it had been part of the same company, we wouldn't have come here for dinner.
Jim Alexander is a regular at Napa's Red Hen Bar and Grill and was pleased to learn the restaurant is independent of the Lexington Red Hen.
We're Republicans, but when you get to see the people who run our country, you respect them and you respect that.
What do you think about people disrespecting a business owner?
I think that's wrong. By the same token, I think it's wrong for a business owner to disrespect the customers.
But they Googled it at least, right? They took the time. Remember, Google is this amazing thing. It's in front of us. We can go on and we can find out a lot of stuff. Now, you might have to do some digging. You may have to double check a few times. Some of the places you sent may not give you the full scoop, but it's not that hard. But at least they Googled it. Instead, they attack him. They go after him. And they're not even associated. But because you have the word Red Hen, we're coming for you.
Norm actually does feel like business is starting to bounce back. I spoke to a number of customers who said they specifically came to eat here because they heard about the news and wanted to support the restaurant.
Yeah, he was down about 30+% over the weekend, and he was worried because people are stupid, and some people are at the double whammy. They're stupid and lazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Question of the day is pretty simple. Are you addicted to your smartphone? It's that easy. Are you addicted to your smartphone? Some people are saying maybe, but a good majority, about 30% of you are saying so far, yeah, you're addicted to your smartphone. At least you're honest about it. I have... You know what's weird is because I'm always doing something for the show, and I'm texting somebody, but I'm always doing something for the show. It's weird because I play no games. I have no games on my phone. I don't play at all. 0 games. I don't even have a game downloaded on my phone. So it's weird because I know a lot of people play the Candy Crush and I do a lot of games on there. I just don't. And I'll check the Facebook maybe a couple times a day to make sure, things are going on because I'll ask a question or something. I'll see what the results are. But outside of that, it's just reading tons of articles or that's it. And I rarely use the phone to call anybody. I don't know why they call it a phone, again, because when's the last time you really used it as a phone? 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
They want justice. They're protesting all over ICE, detention centers. They're going to be doing sit-ins, die-ins, whatever kind of ins that they can do because they want ICE out. Look at the way I did that there. What kind of ins, outs? Never mind. It's, this battle again, these battles that are out there, people get energized. They get charged up over certain things, immigration, the healthcare debate, whatever it is, and they drape themselves in some of this wackiness. And, hey, look, I got no problem. Go out there and protest all you want. Go out there and be an activist all you want. But I think the rhetoric is we've lost our civility in this country to the point where, you're hearing words like, phrases like Civil War time or just stop it. Just stop it, please. Enough. All right. Both sides they sling a lot of arrows at each other. Right. And you've got a lot of people that are all about being provocative. And that's what they want on TV. They don't want to see some people come on and have a actual discussion about certain things. They want people who are going to sling arrows, who are going to say crazy things because they know that's what gets the ratings. And remember, we get the government we deserve. And this is what we got right now. This is the government we've got because we deserve this government. Because look at the way that we consume even our media. Our media is about affirmation, not about real information. Our media is all about being provocative and being as half-ass entertaining, and so is our politics anymore. And that's on us. We could change it. But do we want to? Right? There's a reason that there are shows on TV where they put people in ridiculous situations and they argue and pull hair and fight and scream and yell, and it's drama because we like watching that. There's a reason that we turned a bunch of dopey kids from, South New Jersey, right, the shores, into what? Into stars, because we like the drama they got themselves into. Or housewives just hanging out in Beverly Hills and Atlanta and Orange County, because that's what we like this. We didn't like it when they had a regular show, when everybody was fine. We liked it when they fought. It's how we want our shows, right? Watch the sports shows nowadays. It's Stephen A. Smith versus this guy, right? It's Skip Bayless and yelling at this guy over here. That's all it is. We want conflict because it's entertaining. Look at school when you were a kid, right? If there was a fight, what did everybody do? They all got around the fight. Why? Because we wanted to watch it. If you knew there was going to be a fight after school somewhere, everybody had their place where everybody went, where they go off campus, where they knew they could squabble and nothing was going to happen, right? And everybody'd show up. Why? Because we knew. It's going to be entertainment. Stupid. It really is. That's why you have somebody show up and throw fecal matter at the Red Hen Restaurant, which she had every right to ask Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Look, you know what? If the feeling is you don't want them there and this is you, it's your restaurant. I think you should be allowed to do whatever you want. Right? Shouldn't you? Don't you believe in freedoms? You should be allowed to do with what you want. It's your restaurant. But then you have somebody show up, and rather than protest, they take it a step further, right? You have the people that are so charged up about something, they show up at a softball practice or a baseball practice and shoot a bunch of senators and almost kill Steve Scalise. It's insane. And now you got people protesting what's going on with immigration. And they're going to continue to do so because those people are at the point where they want free borders. They want free everything. They want to open up everything. You can't even have a real discussion with those people because they're at the point now where they've lost their way. It's only their way or their highway. And until we learn to respect each other, I think it's only going to get worse. But it's not going to devolve into a civil war. So ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. He was a football player. Tyler Hilinski's his name. And he was 21 years old. I said he was 21 for a reason, because he's no longer living.
In January, Washington State quarterback Tyler Hilinski committed suicide. On Tuesday morning, his parents announced that he had beginning stages of CTE. Now, it is no secret that football leads to repetitive head trauma, which is a cause of CTE. What is most stunning and concerning about the Hilinski case is that he was only 21. He had not been playing football for more than 10, 12 years at most, unlike decades that NFL players have been playing.
Yeah, so he'd only been playing for a few years, 21 years old. His brain, how bad was it? That of a 65-year-old. Think about that for a second. His mother and father have been talking about what took place because they wanted to find out what happened. Their seemingly normal son living the dream, playing football at a big Pac-12 school. Life looks good, and then not so much.
A young boy, your son's age, had CTE. Was that, personally, I didn't know kids that young could even have that.
Well, we didn't either. I think, like Mark said, it was a shock to get those results and to find out that he had it, and to realize that the sport that he loved may have contributed to that diagnosis.
Well, I think it played a part. There's no doubt about that. And this is the fight I have with Jack all the time, who really, really wants to play football. He wants to play tackle football. And remember, this guy's a quarterback. This isn't, in the world that we live in, the people that you worry, kickers, you don't worry about kickers getting CT, right? You don't worry about quarterbacks, for all intents and purposes, getting CTE because we don't hit quarterbacks at practice. They rarely get hit in the game anymore because the game has changed really even more now than ever before. So, I mean, you look at this and you say to yourself, man, this is a kid who has CTE. Maybe some people are predisposed to it. Their brain, the way it is, the makeup of it. Because remember, as much as we know about the brain, we know very little about the deep ocean. We know even less about the brain. So, and who knows whatever else he could have gone through trauma-wise as a kid. But, this is a quarterback. This isn't a lineman. This isn't a linebacker. This is somebody who played special teams. This is a guy who probably got hit maybe 0 times at practice and very little in the game.
Medical examiner said he had the brain of a 65-year-old, which is really hard to take. It's really hard. You mentioned earlier he was the sweetest, most outgoing, giving kid. That was difficult to hear.
And you don't know if the CTE caused him to do this, right? You don't know that maybe, his parents probably know him better. He's sweet and kind, but did he have depression issues that as a child? Did he fight depression, or was this a sudden kind of thing? There's all these questions around it, but it's another reason why people are really paying attention to what's happening. And that's why I love my son, and we've got football practice this weekend, but he plays flag football. When he gets older, and hopefully in the next, 5 to 10 years, they're going to discover better ways to protect the, people's heads, not just kids' heads, but, other people's heads, adults' heads, because it's not just, they're looking into it in Europe right now. And hockey, how has CTE affected players who, I was never at all, I'm 5'10", but, I didn't rise like a salmon, and my game was played on the ground. But I have had, I look around and I play with guys who would head a ball, 20 times a game, but in practice they'd hit it 20, 30, 40. They practice all the time. That's a heavy ball coming at your head. And think about playing in Europe with a heavy ball that is wet, so it's even heavier, coming from 60, 70 yards at 60 miles an hour. You think that's going to take a toll on somebody. That is. Here's the thing. The parents of Tyler Helinski here, they got another kid. And guess what he does?
Your other son, Brian, who was playing college football. Yeah. Did you want to say to him, honey, no, I'm sorry.
We're not doing it to him. Yeah. I mean, we got the results, and we didn't just get the results and hand him the results and say, read this. We did a lot of research. Can CTE be tested in the living? It can't. Is there a genetic or a hereditary link? They're not sure. So we had to find out as much information as we can, talk to experts, and let Ryan know.
Yeah. But at that point in time, what do you do? And remember, there are so many things at play here. Are there people that are predisposed to it? Is a certain amount of the population, and because so many kids play football, are a certain amount of the population that it's a numbers game, right? Is it genetic? All of these things, but the parents are coming out and saying, look, he did no, there was nothing. There was no other issues here.
Football causes repetitive head trauma. We know that repetitive head trauma causes CTE. This is a 21-year-old who had no other risk factors. Now, this is not to say that every kid who plays football is going to get CTE. Every kid who plays football is going to commit suicide or have behavioral problems. But it is something that parents need to be aware of. If you are letting your kid play football when you are 7, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, before the age recommended by researchers, there are risks involved.
Yeah, there are. There's risk in all sports, but this is a lifetime risk. And it's something to think about. It really is. If you've got a kid out there, this isn't breaking a collarbone or having an ACL tear. This potentially could eventually lead to not. And we think about we only think about CTE. We think about the players that have died, but there are many more players that are alive. Far more are still alive, and they struggle day to day. They don't remember things. They're quick to anger. They're quick to depression. They're addicted to all kinds of things. There's a lot of these players that are alive far more than have passed away and or killed themselves. And that is a struggle to watch. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. We have your useless fact of the day. We've got your Twitter question of the day and working out. America, how much do we work out? Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the last robot-free zone in America, where robot talk show hosts do not compute.
Oh, what an awful dream. Ones and zeros everywhere.
Do not compute.
Ugh, and I thought I saw it too.
The Chad Benson Show.
As age has creeped up on me, I noticed little things. Going up the stairs, I'm a little out of breath. Go hiking with my family, and I'm the last one in line. I'm much more calling up to the kids, can you bring this downstairs? Or if I'm sitting down, can you grab that glass of water for me? I'm not looking to go be a bodybuilder, so I just wanted everyday functionability.
10 seconds to go.
Functional fitness is where you're training for everyday movements.
Functional fitness, that's the new thing, because we are out of shape. Apparently, only about 20% of America, 22% of America actually gets enough of the prerequisite exercise during the week. So you're supposed to have about 130 minutes or so, give or take, exercise, moderate exercise, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise a week. And only about 20% of us do. It's not that hard. I'm always amazed that, like, everybody has excuse, right? I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. It isn't. It's everybody's looking for because we want the magic pill, right? Like, what's the magic pill? What's the thing that's going to save us? What's the thing that's going to make it easier for us to survive? What's the thing that's going to just do something awesome for us so we don't have to work out? And I'm amazed that people just don't get it. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. Even standing at your desk, go for a walk every 10. I mean, if you went for a walk, I was watching this guy on TED Talk. Great, very interesting guy on TED Talk talking about just little changes. That if you walked every day for, X amount of minutes, right? Let's just say you as a human being, right? Because I'm going to go with you guys are all human beings. Do 15 minutes of walking every single day that you're not doing now. Do you realize that that's almost 5,500 minutes a year? And it's just 15 minutes. Even if you do it 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes at a time. Right? Like, that's huge. That is huge. But most people won't do any of those things.
We don't think about how a squat will translate into an everyday world. But we squat every time we sit down. Getting into a car, getting off the couch. When we're traveling in the airports, we're putting things into the overhead compartments. That's a shoulder press.
I can totally feel this in my stomach. They had me do certain exercises and ask, how does that feel? Where are you feeling that?
We're at the thing. We always need something like, it's like it's got to be something specific. It can't just be like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift weights for 20 minutes and maybe I'll run the treadmill for 10, 15 minutes. Like that right there alone for most people would be like, wow. Or I'm going to go take an extra walk here. We have to have like, okay, we've got to put together a super awesome, interesting thing to get people into it. And then when you ask anybody, it's like you see people who've had this great transformations. You ask, well, how'd you do it? It's like most of the time it's like, well, I worked out more and I ate less. I don't know. It's like, but was like, did you go to take a special course? No. Like instead of eating 4,000 calories a day, I kept to a 2,000 calorie a day diet and I tried to walk like 10,000 steps a day. Okay, but did you have a special course where a person teaches you how to do these kind of things? You're like, no, this is what I did.
After about 2 months, I noticed the aches and pains going away. I have lost some weight. I feel healthier. I feel like my muscles are stronger and they support me better. I want to be out there with the kids having the fun versus sitting in the chair and watching everybody else have those moments.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's not that hard, people. It isn't, right? I mean, it's just a pretty simplistic thing. You just kind of work out a little bit more and you eat a little bit less. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I feel a lot better. Not hard. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet along with us. Poll question today. It's about that smartphone in your hand, which is really more a mobile computing device, but that doesn't sound as cool. Maybe that should be your MCD, your mobile computing device, or your smart computing device, the SM, or would it be the Smart S, Computing C, Device D, SCD? Oh, I like that. Are you addicted to it? According to this, 27% of you say yeah. 23% says no, I'm not. 50% say maybe. I think we all know we have some addiction. We might not even be addicted to the phone. It might be what the phone does. Like, okay, I can go to Facebook. I'm addicted to Facebook. Or I'm addicted to Twitter. Or I'm addicted to a game, so I may not pick my phone up and see who's texting me or calling me because I don't care. I'll play a game on here, and if I don't have the phone around, I'll pick up and play the game on the iPad or a tablet. Maybe that's what you're addicted to. I don't know. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at us as well. You can text the program 323-538-2423. Your useless fact of the day. The car itself costs $2 million. It is a Bugatti. Those are really nice cars. If you like a Bugatti and you have that kind of money and you have to be cool, you can't just buy one. You can't just say, I got $2 million, I'd like to buy one. No. There's a vetting process. But if you get this car, know this. And it really doesn't matter if you have this kind of money, that an oil change alone in this car will cost you upwards of $20,000. No Jiffy Lube there, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Have yourself a good rest of your Thursday. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.